This video is made for you. In less than 10 minutes time, you won't feel clueless when you're running up to someone in a 1v1. Your mind won't be blank. Instead, you'll have 4 great skills in your locker and confidence in these situations. I'll be giving you the best 4 skills that I do when I'm dribbling and in 1v1 situations. Not only will I be exposing them to you, I'll be showing you how to do it, when to do it, and giving you extra bonus tips that have taken my dribbling to a new level. For those who don't know, my name is Jack, and the reason I've been able to take my dribbling up to a world-class level is because I stopped doing stupid drills that I saw on TikTok, stopped trying stupid tricks, and I locked in on these 4 and made them second nature. Your competition clicks off after just 1 minute. However, if you can stay until the end of the video, you'll be ahead of 90% of the people you're coming up against. So lock in, stay off TikTok, and let's get to work. Now the first skill is the La Croqueta. It was a move mainly popularized by Iniesta, but now is used loads by Jamal Musiala. He does this about once a game, and it's almost guaranteed it will be successful. Now the La Croqueta is commonly used in the center of the pitch, however it's also used on the touchline for wingers as well. It's not a skill when you do running at full pace, however when you're going a bit slower or you need to escape from a certain bit of pressure, it's a great skill to rely on. It's important you don't slap the ball from one foot to the other. You need to gently guide and cushion the ball in a sliding motion and then push it out in the opposite direction and explode away. Think about using your big toe. Your toes have so much more control and freedom and movement than the rest of your foot. And so if you can learn to use this when you're dribbling, you're going to be a 10 times better dribbler. Also, you're going to need some sort of disguise to make this believable. If you just slide the ball without any sort of drop of the shoulder or the knee, it's not going to fool any good defender and you'll end up looking like a clown. That's why adding this element of disguise through dropping or throwing your weight in one direction is key, not only to add this disguise, but also to be able to push off your standing leg and explode out in the opposite direction. The La Croqueta is a skill you rely on, not a skill you actively pull out. An example of a skill that I actively pull out in a 1v1 would be a step over. Now talking of the step over, this is the second skill that I do and you need to learn ASAP. Now the step over is probably the easiest skill of these to mess up. When your foot is going around the ball, it's easy to time it wrong, accidentally knock the ball with your foot. However, it provides that split second where the defender can't see the ball. The step over is best done at pace, as you're able to generate that momentum, and you won't need to fully drop your shoulder and your leg in order to sell it. Just that quick movement, that period where the ball is hidden and your feet are in front of the ball, is really going to confuse even the best defenders. You're also able to combine the step over with different variants. For example, you can do a double step over, you can sole roll into a step over, and so this gives you more expressive creativity and freedom in these 1v1 dribbling situations. Now I'll give you a couple points that I think about when I'm doing the step over. The first is that the foot I'm dribbling with needs to be the foot that I end up throwing the step over with. This is because there's that awkward period. If I'm dribbling with my right foot and I try and do a step over with my left foot, it slows it down so much and makes it way easier for the defender. I also want to throw my step over at a certain point. Now the defender is likely going to be jockeying backwards and I want to wait until his weight distribution is not on one foot. When it's evenly distributed between both feet and he's almost in the air as he's jockeying backwards, that's when you want to pull out the distribution of the step over. This is why you'll see players stumble, fall over, and you may think it's bad defending, but actually it's just very, very smart attacking. Doing that step over when they're off balance, when they're in the air, means they try and push off a standing foot, which isn't even planted, and that's how they end up falling over. The third skill is the drop of the shoulder. Now this is one of the oldest and most commonly used skills in football, going back 100 years to players such as Stanley Matthews. When you master this skill, despite it being so simple, it's very, very hard for defenders to read and tackle you. Now you may think it's such an easy skill that you don't even need to watch this part of the video. However, I'm going to give you a couple easy little things that you can add to make your success rate with this skill much higher. The first, we've already mentioned in this video, dropping your knee and dropping your shoulder makes it much more believable. It also gives you the ability to be able to generate momentum and push off with that standing leg to explode in the other direction. You also need to think about the fact it's such a common move. Defenders are used to this. What you may want to think about doing is adding 2, 3, maybe even 4 in a row. Now when you start doing this, a defender is honestly clueless and it just becomes a guessing game. This can be a stationary skill, however it's best used when running at pace. The more speed you're running at, the less you need to sell it. Now the fourth skill that I like to use and that's been super effective for my dribbling and 1v1s is the sole roll. This is seen as more of a futsal or freestyler skill move, however when done correctly is really useful even in 11v11s at a high level. When you're dribbling up to someone, using the ball of your foot to roll the ball is a very, very effective way of engaging them. Not only does it show confidence, it also invites them to bite. Now I know a lot of coaches try and coach it out of you, They don't like their players dribbling or receiving the ball with their soul. And while it's understandable, if you're a creative player, using the soul is a great skill, especially when engaging the defender. That being said, it can also be used as a skill in its own right. Waiting for a defender to dive in, a bit like the La Croqueta, and then using your soul to roll the ball to the other foot is a great way of escaping pressure. Another little point is to use your toes when doing the soul roll. Don't use the bottom of your foot where all the studs are. Instead, use just under your toes, as this is where you have the most control, freedom and movement in all of your foot. Remember guys, all the clips you've seen of me on screen are living proof that these skills actually work. If you apply enough time and attention to it, the same can happen for you too. And if you want a training plan and know exactly how to get better at these skills, click the video up here, and while you're at it, go subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.